Right, let us start the session. Very good evening, everyone. Myself, Usha Rani. I'm the AVP Academics from Next Education. So today's topic is exploring the strategies on engagement, motivation, and emotional well-being. How to nurture all of this. And I hope everyone is doing well. And appreciate everyone for taking time to join this session. And this session is for you, so feel free to ask questions, and there'll be one query session at the end, and share your thoughts in the chat at the end of the session. So let us explore the session together. Right. So this is the topic, exploring the strategies for engagement, motivation, and emotional well-being. Now here, these are the objectives of this session. So one overview at one glance, you can have a look. That is introduction. What do we think about a child? Why this topic matters? Then journey of Arav, so a student I have taken. And then how the strategies, engagement orientation strategies actually help him, nurture him in, molding him into the shape that we wanted. And the fourth one is journey of Arav, that is motivation oriented strategies. You can see as a video there. And then journey of Arav is an emotional well-being oriented strategies. And then comes your varied strategies for engagement, varied strategies for motivation, varied strategies for emotional well-being, and the last comes your pros and cons. What are the outcomes of these strategies? And obviously there will be pros and cons for each and every strategy. So that is what we are going to look at. Now moving on to the next slide is introduction about our students in the classroom. Now here is a question for you. Think about a student in your classroom who is intelligent and capable, but rarely participates. Okay, he or she doesn't participate, but she is intelligent. A child who avoids answering questions, but gets distracted easily or seems disconnected from the learning. What do you think that child truly needs? You can see a child here who is intelligent enough, but she is not ready to participate. Okay, so she avoids answering questions, gets distracted easily, or seems disconnected from the learning. Right. Now, why do you think the child is distracted, and what does she need? Any teachers? It's an open discussion. The session cannot be one way. I want everyone to participate, and I hope everyone is with me. He needs motivation, yes. He needs, yes, motivation is one, yes. Teacher's attention, true, yes. What else? They need encouragement, emotional support, yes, true. Yeah, so yeah, most of the whatever strategies that the topic is on, we have got it, right, true. So students do not disengage because they cannot learn. That is not the answer. They disengage because either they do not feel connected, or they're not confident enough, or they're not motivated, or they're not emotionally safe in the learning environment or in the classroom. So that is where the disconnect is happening, or this disengage is happening. Right? So now let us see the next one. Now here, in this scenario, you can see the student is being engaged, right? Prior, we are saying she's not participating, she's not engaged in the classroom, she feels disconnected and disengaged. But in the next, you can see that. So what could be the reason for all of this? Right now, she's feeling confident, she's motivated, and then she's emotionally safe in the environment, and she feels connected to the teacher, right? So let us see what all the different strategies. Yeah, here comes the answer. So here the students are actively engaged. That is one. They're internally motivated. Second, and they're emotionally supported. Because of all this, which already have given the answers, so that is where I can say the student is engaged. So now this is what linked to the strategies. When I say they're actively engaged, that comes your engagement orientation strategies. Now, what are the different strategies is what we are going to look in the upcoming slides. Now, internally motivated. So there, that is where your motivation orientation strategies comes into picture. And emotionally connected or supported. That is where your more emotional well-being of the students. Okay, that is the orientation strategies would come. So the different strategies that you can see. Yeah, Ritu? Yes. You can put your query on your chat box. Hello, haven't, there is no message from your end, Ritu. I'm proceeding forward. Right. So coming to the strategies is what I have told you, to just make the students engaged, motivated. So they're actively engaged, then they're internally motivated and connected. These three can happen through all these strategies that you can see here. Right. Now let us move on to the next slide. So here there is a video for you. As I said, I'm taking one student called Arav because every session I start with a story. So here there is one story, okay, where you can see how the engagement activities have been given for a student who is actually disconnected and disengaged in the classroom. Let us proceed for this. Just trying to play this.
Journey of Arav, Engagement-Oriented Strategies. Arav, a grade 5 student, was intelligent but rarely participated in class. He often seemed distracted and showed little.
I hope the audio and the video are audible and visible. Yes.
Journey of Arav, Engagement-Oriented Strategies. Arav, a grade 5 student, was intelligent but rarely participated in class. He often seemed distracted and showed little interest in classroom discussions. His teacher realized that Arav needed learning experiences that were more active and meaningful. During a science lesson on water and pollution, instead of simply explaining concepts from the textbook, the teacher asked students to create a working model of a water filter using sand, stones, cotton, and plastic bottles. Arav became curious as he observed how dirty water slowly became cleaner while passing through different layers. For the first time, he was learning by doing, not just listening. The following week, the teacher encouraged students to observe pollution in their surroundings and ask questions about it. Arav shared that the lake near his house had become dirty because people threw plastic waste and garbage into it. Through inquiry-based learning and brainstorming activities, Arav slowly began participating more confidently. To deepen the experience, the teacher organized a short visit to a nearby pond. Students observed floating waste, discussed how polluted water affects plants and animals, and suggested ways to keep water bodies clean. Arav became excited because he could connect classroom learning to real-life situations. This reflected expeditionary and immersive learning. Over time, Arav became more attentive, curious, and actively involved in classroom learning.
Yes, I hope everyone has seen this video. Now I want you guys to just tell me what are the different strategies that Arav has implemented, the teacher has implemented to make Arav more curious and more enthusiastic and more motivated and confident in the classroom. Like we have already shown, I have already shown some strategies as an header when the video is playing, right? So you can just let me know what are the different strategies that we have shown. One is one water filter model that you have seen. The second one is a polluted lake. right? And then you have seen something like collaborating and doing something. Observing his surroundings, yes. Field trip, experiment, inquiry based learning, right? Yes. What else? What is the first one that we have shown you? In the first go, we have shown this water filter model. So what does it comes under? I've given a header for that. Yes. Experiential learning, true. Yes, Saryu, you are right. It's experiential learning, visual and experiential learning. I'll play one more time. So you need to give me all the strategies and then the examples of it.
Journey of Arav, engagement-oriented strategies. Arav, a grade 5 student, was intelligent but rarely participated in class. He often seemed distracted and showed little interest in classroom discussions. His teacher realized that Arav needed learning experiences that were more active and meaningful. During a science lesson on water and pollution, instead of simply explaining concepts from the textbook, the teacher asked students to create a working model of a water filter using sand, stones, cotton, and plastic bottles. Arav became curious as he observed how dirty water slowly became cleaner while passing through different layers. For the first time, he was learning by doing, not just listening. The following week, the teacher encouraged students to observe pollution in their surroundings and ask questions about it. Arav shared that the lake near his house had become dirty because people threw plastic waste and garbage into it. Through inquiry-based learning and brainstorming activities, Arav slowly began participating more confidently. To deepen the experience, the teacher organized a short visit to a nearby pond. Students observed floating waste, discussed how polluted water affects plants and animals, and suggested ways to keep water bodies clean. Arav became excited because he could connect classroom learning to real-life situations. This reflected expeditionary and immersive learning. Over time, Arav became more attentive, curious, and actively involved in classroom learning.
Right, I hope it is clear. Now we have shown 3 to 4 strategies under engagement oriented strategies. Can anyone say what are those? Put it in the chat box. Yes, engagement oriented strategies, visual and experiential learning, true. So what is the example that is given under visual and experiential learning? Anyone? Yes, brainstorming. Okay, I just need the example under, what is the example that has been shown here? Under visual and experiential learning. Yes, yes, yeah, water filter. Working model, true, right. Now, what is the next one? What is the next strategy that has been shown? Is it inquiry-based model or is it like brainstorming or expeditionary and impressive strategy? What is the second one? Inquiry-based model. Yes, true. Okay, under inquiry-based model, what is the task being given to the student? Arav? I didn't get the answer. No, no, not Soumya. No. Inquiry-based, yes. Not the Rashmi, it's not the working model. Yes, water pollution, observing, yes. Go to the nearest pond, you are right. Yes, going to the nearest pond and observing it is what is given under inquiry-based learning, which is, I can say, an investigation and observation and exploration. That is where this curiosity and active participation comes into picture. True, right? And then comes your third one. What is the third strategy being given? Third strategy, immersive learning, yes. Okay, that is the fourth one. Prior to that, there is one more. Yes, yes, yeah, real life experience, Aarti, okay, but not very much relevant to what we are saying here. Observations by seeing, no, not, no, Aarti, it's not the right answer. Brainstorming and immersive, right. Brainstorming and expeditionary and immersive learning. So what is the task being given here? Yes, Savita, you can just put it in the chat box. Yes, what is the third one? What is the third strategy? I find the reasons for pollution. Yes, true. Yes. Creating a module, right? Yes. Yeah, right. So you almost got there. So I'm going to show you here. Now we have discussed all of these answers here. I'm going to show this. These are the different strategies that we have shown in that. One is visual and experiential learning, right? So this is the one. And the next comes here. Second, guys. Okay, this is a visual and experiential learning, which we said it is learning about learning through hands-on activities, or it can be models, or it can be manipulatives, or it can be demonstrations, etc. And inquiry-based learning is where we have given through investigations, or it can be any exploration, demonstrations, etc. And visual storytelling and storyboarding. Can anyone say what have you shown it here? It can be any drawing tools, or it can be like comic strips, or it can be timelines, etc. So storytelling is where you can take any topic and give a demonstration, or storyboarding is where you can give the sequence of it. And brainstorming activities is where you have, it's a new topic, it's something like a research analysis that the student need to do, and then brainstorming and deliver it in the classroom. Then the last one is expeditionary and immersive learning. This is where your field trips, your virtual tours, your simulations, your projects, your nature walks, your campus explorations, and real world explorations will come into picture. So these are all the different strategies that you can see under this. Now moving on to the next slide, let us see what each means. As I said here, visual and experiential learning is more of model creations. Inquiry-based learning is more of questioning, investigating, and observing. Visual storytelling and storyboarding is more of drawings, comic strips, and then timelines, visual sequences, etc. Brainstorming is more about generating the ideas and then opinions and then multiple possibilities through open-ended thinking. And expeditionary and immersive is where you can give projects, or you can give field trips or simulations, etc. So these are the different strategies that comes under these engagement-oriented strategies. Okay, I hope it is clear. If you have any doubts, let me know. If not, we'll be moving on to the next slide. Yes, any concerns from any of the teachers and educators? No? Okay, I'm going to proceed. Yes. Now here there is one more video.
Journey of Arav, motivation-oriented strategies. Although Arav understood concepts well, he lacked confidence in expressing his ideas. His teacher wanted to motivate him by giving him ownership of learning. One day, students were asked to present the topic of the water cycle in small groups. Arav and his friends decided to create a comic strip showing evaporation, condensation, and rainfall. Arav happily took responsibility for drawing the illustrations. During the presentation, the class appreciated the creativity of the comic strip, and Arav felt proud of his contribution. This was an example of student-led learning and visual storytelling and storyboarding. Later, the teacher introduced short videos and simple home-based research activities before classroom discussions. Arav watched a video on water conservation and came prepared with ideas about saving water at home. He confidently shared simple practices like reusing water for plants and closing taps properly. This encouraged independent thinking through flipped and self-directed learning. During group projects, students worked together to discuss solutions for reducing pollution. Arav suggested placing separate dustbins near parks and lakes to reduce waste. His teammates appreciated the idea and included it in their project. Through peer learning and collaborative assessment, Arav began feeling more confident and motivated to contribute regularly. The teacher also connected science with art and language activities by asking students to create posters and slogans about saving water. Arav designed a poster that read, "Clean water, healthy life." This interdisciplinary learning approach allowed him to use his creativity while learning concepts across subjects. Gradually, Arav stopped hesitating and started taking initiative in classroom activities because he felt capable, appreciated, and motivated.
I hope it is clear. This is the second strategy, or the second category, I can say, that is motivation-oriented strategies. So can anyone say, like, what are the different strategies that we have seen here? In the first go, there was a repetition of video and visual and experiential learning. Actually, that is student-led learning and presentations. That's a small mistake from my end when I'm creating that label, but it means that student-led learning and presentations. So you want me to play one more time? Peer learning, integrated subject learning. I just want one by one. What is the first one that is shown here on the screen? What is the first one? First one. Okay, let me play it again one more time.
Journey of Arav, motivation-oriented strategies. Although Arav understood concepts well, he lacked confidence in expressing his ideas. His teacher wanted to motivate him by giving him ownership of learning. One day, students were asked to present the topic of the water cycle in small groups. Arav and his friends decided to create a comic strip showing evaporation, condensation, and rainfall. Arav happily took responsibility for drawing the illustrations. During the presentation, the class appreciated the creativity of the comic strip.
Actually,
and Arav,
this is more about not visual storytelling and storyboarding. This is more about student-led presentations. It is student-led learning and presentations. So it's not, this is a mistake from my end when I'm giving the screen. I meant to say label.
Felt proud of his contribution. This was an example of student-led learning and visual storytelling and storyboarding. Later, the teacher introduced short videos and simple home-based research activities before classroom discussions. Arav watched a video on water conservation and came prepared with ideas about saving water at home. He confidently shared simple practices like reusing water for plants and closing taps properly. This encouraged independent thinking through flipped and self-directed learning. During group projects, students worked together to discuss solutions for reducing pollution. Arav suggested placing separate dustbins near parks and lakes to reduce waste. His teammates appreciated the idea and included it in their project. Through peer learning and collaborative assessment, Arav began feeling more confident and motivated to contribute regularly. The teacher also connected science with art and language activities by asking students to create posters and slogans about saving water. Arav designed a poster that read, "Clean water, healthy life." This interdisciplinary learning approach allowed him to use his creativity while learning concepts across subjects. Gradually, Arav stopped hesitating and started taking initiative in classroom activities because he felt capable, appreciated, and motivated.
Right. Now you have seen all the strategies, right? Here we have shown 4 strategies of motivation-oriented learning. So can anyone say about the first one? What did we show there? Yes, it is student-led learning and presentation. Yes, it is the right answer. Now, what is it being showcased there? It's a student-led learning and presentations. That is the second one is flipped learning. That is what we are saying, flipped and self-directed learning, we call it as. We call it as a flipped classroom, which means like instead of all the time teacher giving the lectures and the discussions, we flip the classrooms, which means we will ask the student to deliver the content. So it can be a seminar, it can be a symposium on any general topic, or it can be a research topic where the students will be delivering the content. So this is what we call as an flipped and self-directed learning. And the next comes your peer learning and collaborative assessment. Yes, peer learning and collaborative assessment, home-based research activities. Yes, so here comes your the learning happens through peer teaching. It's happening through communicating and collaborating with the team, and it's a teamwork, I can say, and more of discussions, and they share the feedback. So that is what we call it under peer learning and collaborative assessments. Now, last comes your interdisciplinary learning. So here comes this interdisciplinary approach or multidisciplinary approach where different subjects, it can be math, science, social, and art, are integrated together in terms of creating, it can be posters, it can be creating any comic strips, etc., and creating a digital content, even a PPT or a video also will do. Right. So these are the 4 strategies which you have seen here. Let me move forward. So here, as I said here, motivational strategies. So the first one, as I said here, is student-led, okay, learning and presentations. Then comes your flipped classrooms, or we call it as flipped and self-directed learning. The next comes your peer learning and collaborative assessment, right? And then comes your interdisciplinary learning. So these are the different strategies that you can see. Now moving on to the next one, you can see these are the different things, and then let us see what each means. So student-led and learning and presentation means mostly discussions, presentations, demonstrations, and classroom facilitation activities to build the confidence and ownership for the students. And flipped and self-directed, as I said here, flipped classroom is where classroom can be turned into an, it can be field trip, or it can be where the students will be giving, I can say it is from passive to active learning, where the students will be more engaged in learning. Give me a minute. Yes. Right. Then comes your promoting independent and self-paced learning through videos, digital content, and even guided exploration before the classroom interaction. Then comes your peer learning and collaborative assessment, which comes through teamwork, peer teaching, collaborative tasks, discussions, etc. Interdisciplinary learning is where the integration of multiple subjects and then your real-world understanding occurs. So we'll be seeing few of the examples in the upcoming slides. Right, now here there is one more video on these emotional well-being oriented strategies. Let us have a look.
Journey of Arav, emotional well-being oriented strategies. Even as Arav became more active in learning, his teacher noticed that he still felt nervous while speaking in front of others. She understood that emotional safety was equally important for his growth. During classroom circle time, students were encouraged to discuss their feelings, fears, and experiences in school. Arav shared that he often stayed quiet because he was afraid of giving wrong answers and being laughed at by classmates. Instead of judging him, his classmates supported him and shared similar experiences of feeling nervous. The teacher appreciated Arav's honesty and reminded the class that mistakes are part of learning. This reflected social, emotional, and life skills learning. The teacher also encouraged students to express themselves creatively through storytelling, role play, poster making, and art activities. Arav participated in a role play where he acted as a water warrior, spreading awareness about saving water. He enjoyed expressing himself through creativity even when speaking felt difficult. These were examples of creative expression activities. To strengthen teamwork and classroom relationships, the teacher regularly conducted collaborative games and reflection activities where students appreciated one another's strengths. Arav slowly became more comfortable interacting with peers and expressing his thoughts openly. By the end of the term, Arav had become more expressive, emotionally secure, and confident in himself. He no longer feared participation because he felt safe, valued, and supported in the classroom environment.
Right, I hope it is clear. You can watch one.
Journey of Arav, emotional well-being oriented strategies.
So here
even as Arav became more active in
used.
learning, his teacher noticed that he still felt nervous while speaking in front of others. She understood that emotional safety was equally important for his growth. During classroom circle time, students were encouraged to discuss their feelings, fears, and experiences in school. Arav shared that he often stayed quiet because he was afraid of giving wrong answers and being laughed at by classmates. Instead of judging him, his classmates supported him and shared similar experiences of feeling nervous. The teacher appreciated Arav's honesty and reminded the class that mistakes are part of learning. This reflected social, emotional, and life skills learning. The teacher also encouraged students to express themselves creatively through storytelling, role play, poster making, and art activities. Arav participated in a role play where he acted as a water warrior, spreading awareness about saving water. He enjoyed expressing himself through creativity even when speaking felt difficult. These were examples of creative expression activities. To strengthen teamwork and classroom relationships, the teacher regularly conducted collaborative games and reflection activities where students appreciated one another's strengths. Arav slowly became more comfortable interacting with peers and expressing his thoughts openly. By the end of the term, Arav had become more expressive, emotionally secure, and confident in himself. He no longer feared participation because he felt safe, valued, and supported in the classroom environment.
Right. I hope it is clear. Now here we are speaking about two skills, two strategies. One is about the social, emotional, and life skills learning. The second one is about creative expression activities. These two are the different strategies that we have emphasized here. In the first go, that is social, emotional, and life skills learning. We have been emphasizing on developing empathy, then teamwork, communication, decision making, and positive social behavior and resilience. And coming to the creative expression activities, we are mainly focusing on encouraging imagination and originality, emotional expression, creativity through art. So that is where your storytelling, your role play, these all activities also will come into picture. Right? I hope it is clear. Let us move on to the next slide. Right. Now coming to this emotional well-being and oriented strategies, as I said here, there are two strategies. One is about this social and emotional learning and life skills. And the second comes your creative expression activities. So these are the two things that we need to, and here this part is already been discussed. Let us move on to the next slide. So comes this. And here, in this social, emotional, and life skills learning, we are mainly focusing on developing empathy, teamwork, collaborating, communicating, being responsible, resilient, decision-making, and positive social behavior. In creative expression activities is where teacher is giving all these different sort of activities so that his creative skills or his emotional expression and his creativity would increase, and innovation, all the skills, like what we say about 21st century skills, that would enhance. Now moving on to the next one. Here comes this different engagement oriented strategies, which we have already discussed. Now let us see some examples and the different methods, because here it can be paper cutting, it can be like hands-on models, or it can be clay models. So different strategies might be there. So I'm not giving too many, one or two for each strategy to understand how you can implement that in your classrooms. Now, first one is engagement orientation strategies, that is visual and experiential learning. So this is the one we are speaking about. Under that, it comes through visuals, just through can be poster making or creating a PPT or hands-on models, the way which is done here in this. So here is a thermo flask which the students are designing, where the heat transfer should be avoided. For that, they're using different materials like insulators, not conductors, like wool, cotton, foam, etc., and cloth even, so that the heat can be retained, or the cold, whatever items are placed inside the thermoflask remains at the same temperature. So this is where we can say models or hands-on activities, or that new creation part is being designed. And then comes with your crafts and manipulatives and real world explanation comes your paper folding activities, where you can use the concept of geometry or triangles, and in terms of designing an envelope, or it can be a shape like a peacock or a bird or a camera, etc., which we have seen in our origami models. So this is one such example which I have given it here. Now moving on to the next one. is where paper folding and craft activities. So under this, you can create paper models of animals. As I said here, it can be a frog, it can be a bird, it can be a peacock, which we already have done when we are in childhood. We used to have these origami classes where a visitor comes and explains all of that, and we used to do parallelly. And then mathematics is where fold them out paper to demonstrate. It can be fractions, it can be symmetry. And in social studies, they make the crafts representing monuments and even heritage sites. So these are the different strategies that can be used for under this paper folding and craft activities. Moving on to the next strategy, that is hands-on models and manipulatives, which I have shown you one, that is designing an thermoflask. So here, explore the organ systems using the 3D models. So it's not about only designing something, that they can even show some manipulatives or show some simulators like 3D models, which I'm going to show you in the upcoming slides. Then mathematics here, they build the geometric solids using the nets and manipulatives. Social studies use the globes and maps to study the locations and directions. So these are the different manipulatives and hands-on models that have been showed as part of visual and experiential learning. Comes to the next one, that is inquiry-based learning. So inquiry-based learning is more about showing experiments and activities. For example, here I've given you one example of different liquids like water, acetone, honey, and turpentine oil. So what we are doing is, here we are placing this material on a piece of paper and exposing them under the sun here for a time of around 2 minutes, and then again 10 minutes. And here again, we are exposing the same thing under the fan. So we are keeping the same material under two different conditions. One condition is under the sun. The second condition is under the fan. So here what we are actually analyzing is about the evaporation rate, which has a higher or a lower evaporation rate. Now, when you do it for around 10 minutes, you'll come to know that water and acetone has a higher evaporation rate when compared to the honey and turpentine oil. So this is where the student themselves will do that complete experimentation, then draw the observations, and from there they can draw the conclusion, saying that these liquids have high evaporation rates while these liquids have the low evaporation. That is the reason for including the demonstrations or activities or experiments in the classroom. So you need to make your classrooms lively by either showcasing them these activities, and then, for example, you might not be having the bandwidth of completing the syllabus using all of this. One method is show the activity on the screen, give a pause, and then don't even show the end result. Ask the student, like, now what would be the end result? Let them visualize, let them do that analysis, let them innovate and come up with the answers. It might be wrong, still fine. They're acting like an investigator or a scientist, where they're implementing or utilizing that scientific methods when they're exploring such activities in the classroom. Next comes here. Yes. So this is one example of investigation and experimentation, which I have already shown you. This is one more example here, one subject, because every time I don't want to emphasize only on math or only on science or only on social. So I've taken all the three technical subjects. So here given one example for each. Investigate how sunlight affects the seed germination. For that, you can keep one, maybe a flask containing seeds with an rubber cork, and then place one sample under the sunlight, and one inside the room, and one maybe inside the refrigerator, and see the maybe after a period of 2 to 3 days, you can see the germination. And students themselves can draw the conclusions on what all the factors are required for the seed to germinate. Then comes your mathematics, where measure the classroom objects using standard and non-standard units. It can be scale, it can be your cubic, it can be your yard, etc. And then comes your social, conduct the surveys on water usage habits. So this is all the different inquiry-based models. So on this water usage habits, like maybe you are using an hose or an mug for watering the plants, or it can be bathing using a shower or a bucket. So this is all the different students will survey, make an analysis, and then obviously they'll be drawing the conclusions. Right, now let us move on to the next one, that is ponder and wonder. So in most of the books, you would have seen this header called ponder and wonder. Now, what is this? So you need to explore that, and then you need to actually come to a conclusion. So these are mostly will be like open-ended, where everyone might not be having the same answer. So explore why some objects float while others sink. Okay, so this is where your buoyancy or density will come into picture, where these technical terms the students might not be, but they can understand that this matter is completely compacted and heavy. That is where it will sink, where this matter, though it is of the same shape and size, the matter or the particles that have been are loosely packed, so that is where it is floating. So then comes your buoyancy, your what do you call density, and that is where technically you'll be explaining it. Mathematics, that is where identify the patterns in multiplication table, like in 2 or 3 or 10 tables. This is where you can make the students identify the patterns, how is it increasing or decreasing, etc. Then comes your social studies. Examine why civilization developed near the rivers. Like Indus Valley civilization, if you take, why is it being developed near the river? Okay, so that is where the inquiry-based approach comes into picture. Then comes your the next one, that is visual learning, visual storytelling and storyboarding, where comes your activities, demonstration. So the same approach is what you have seen in the prior event. Okay, so you are going to see this here. It's a hero event, and these are the different things. Let me show you one example to understand this better. So there is a possibility of having repetitions across the strategies, okay, that under engagement as well as under motivation. And yeah, see, sorry, we are under engagement, right? Engagement orientation strategies. Now coming to the storyboarding activities. Now what is a storyboard? Is where you, like for example, you take any topic step by step. If the student is going to analyze, give the breakup, and then do and get in complete information, that is what we call it as in storyboarding activities, where draw the stages of the life cycle, where from all the stages, starting from the egg, then to the larva, and then to the pupa. If he's going to draw all the stages, that is where we call it as a storyboarding, where it includes the labels, the text, as well as the visuals. Then represent the word problems using the picture sequences. Okay, and then comes storyboard panels on historical events. Like for example, historical events you want to say about any of the World War. It can be 1 or 2. So you can just give that pictures on a chart and then ask them to give a description on below each and everything. Okay, what is it about? So these are the different strategies. Bhavika, I hope you are more interested in the certificate rather than on the information that is going here. Please focus here, because we are spending time for you guys to explore all these strategies and you can implement in the classroom. Have patience, and then please wait, because we have still time. It's like after 6 o'clock is what we are going to share it, not prior to that. Have patience and please help with me. Next comes your comic narration creation. So this is where we have seen one prior video also, where the student is creating a comic on water cycle. He's giving all the pictures, and then he's even creating the posters. So that is where your comic narration creation is here, where create the comics on environmental conservation is one example. On mathematics, it is design the visual math stories. And then, for example, you can show on profit or loss, or how to do the calculations when a student is going to a store. When you are given 100 rupees, then you are purchasing some maybe a biscuit packet. So what change the student need to take? This all is what visually they can show it on a piece of chart. And social studies illustrate the stories from the early civilization. So any civilization, they can take it. It can be Mesopotamian, it can be Indus Valley, etc. Then comes with your brainstorming. So brainstorming is more about discussion, which is, I can say, a completely new topic. So they will discuss, they'll come to a conclusion. That is where your peer interaction, your collaboration and communication will come into picture. So this is about generating the ideas and sharing the opinions and exploring the possibilities. And some examples are given here. Why seasons change? Okay, is it because of the rotation of the earth, or is it because of the tilt of the earth, or is it because of the maybe what we call it as the orientation of the means like we can give these two are the right answers. We can give even the wrong options, like maybe the sun being closest, or it can be the moon rotating around the sun, earth, etc. Okay, then comes your mathematics. Investigate the multiple ways to solve a problem. So it's not like every time one method of doing it. We can do multiple methods, like maybe we call it as mental math or Vedic math. These techniques also can be implemented. Then social studies is discuss the causes of migration. So these are the different varieties of or techniques that you can see under open-ended discussions. Next comes under this engagement oriented strategies, expeditionary and immersive learning. So here is where comes your project, your field trips or your virtual tours, okay, and simulations, etc. So here you can see some of the field trips. So in the first case here, there is a story on deep sea aquarium where mom and the daughter has gone to a deep sea aquarium where they have seen an anglerfish, and here is a jellyfish, and here is a frogfish, and then a puffer fish and a flying fish. So the different fishes which actually you cannot see in one scenario is what we can show it in the form of a story. You can create in your on your own, or this is where I have taken one sample from my textbook where I have given this as an thing where this is the context, the first page of the chapter where we have given a virtual field trip, and this is where it is landing into the chapter on adaptations in animals. So this way you can see why is this anglerfish is having a light carrying it in front of it. So it is mainly to capture the prey, to attract the prey and then capture it. And this is where you can see a jellyfish where it has the light, the glowing light. This mainly helps in like I mean to say avoid the predators or scaring the predators. And then comes your puffer fish. This is also for scaring the predators. And then comes your frogfish, which is under high tremendous pressure on the ocean floor. It walks on the floor, and is a flying fish which flies at times, not all the time. So these are the different adaptations that you can see at one go. And here this is where the chapter on scientific investigation, you can see how a student is entering into an research, Indian Space Research Center, and he's seeing how the rockets propels, and then what is the speed required, and how it tides over the gravity, and then how the scientist actually works, and then what is the distance being present between, because this is something on Mars exploration, so they've been discussing that. And here you can see one more that is on elements, compounds and mixtures chapter, where you can see the students are going to a mining industry, and they can see how these ores or these rocks are processed, and then from there the ores and the metals or the elements have been extracted. For example, gold is being extracted here. This is a gold mining I mean to say unit. So this way the students are seeing such, this cannot be virtual, they're not even real, but that is something semi-realistic what we can create it in the book. And I'll be showing few of these real yeah, so these are some of the real or virtual field trips which you can see. Okay, let me click on this to show you. This you can even show it in the classroom. So these are the deep dives. So what is this deep dives is where maybe you can go to the ocean floor, you can even go to an to the, I mean to say, as a parachute, you can fly in the air. This is a 360-degree gallery. So it's taking time to load. Let me open all of them. There's one on Taj Mahal, one on anatomy model. I have opened it here. Let me see. It's loading. Give me some time. So here, the students or the teacher in the classroom, she can explore the complete street view and show any like this. So you can have a street walk. You can show this and have a 360-degree rotation. Oh, I hope my screen is not being shared, right? Oh, give me a minute, guys. Yeah, so this is where you can see the Taj Mahal. It's a 3-degree rotation, right? Because they're on the banks of the Yamuna River. So if you want to zoom, You can still zoom that. Right, so this is about one second. Yes, so this is how the complete view, a 360-degree view of this monument can be seen. Any heritage center this way, right? And coming to the one more, this is what I have showed you. This is the Cambodia monument Angkor Thom. Second, guys, it's taking time to load. Give me a minute, it got stuck. So this is what I have told you about this. And then one more anatomy model also, let me show you. It is getting stuck. So this is one more where aerial view of boats on the Manaskin Inlet Heat. What is it? Manasquan Inlet. So this is where. So we have different such, I mean to say, links where you can explore it. All right. And as I showed here, this is one more street view which you want to explore it. Any heritage place. Okay. You can just need to click on this, the forward arrow and the backward arrow. So you would be just moving towards that. If you want to rotate, you can rotate it. And if you want to go to any particular place, click on this. So you would be traveling to that particular place this way. Right. So this is where any heritage centers that you can ask the student to explore it can be given as a flipped classroom even. And I showed you this is 7 wonders. And yeah, this is about the heart model where you want to show a 3D rotation of a heart is where you can show this even. Right. This way we have the different links for this real or this virtual, mostly virtual field trips where explore the botanical gardens. Can you see my screen? Yes. Explore the botanical gardens and science museums virtually. Mathematics is where geometric patterns in buildings and structures, and visit the monuments like a Taj Mahal through virtual field trips. Then comes your nature walks and campus exploration, where identify the plant species and ecosystem in the nature walk. It can be a botanical garden. It can be any nature reserve or wildlife sanctuary or national parks. And mathematics is observe the patterns and symmetry in our surroundings. So they can observe that different symmetries that they are observed in a home, in a classroom, etc. And study the local community structures and services. Then comes your motivation oriented strategies, that is student led learning and presentations. So here comes your developing the confidence, communication, responsibility, and leadership through student-led discussions, demonstration, presentation. So here student would be the main person to deliver the content. It can be a webinar, it can be a symposium, it can be a seminar. So he will be the facilitator rather than the teacher. So that is where motivation. So till here we are done with this engagement orientation. Next comes your motivation orientation strategies. The first one is student-led presentations. So it can be the different whatever activities that I told you. This some examples of that is present the calendars that came into existence. Okay, so different calendars like Georgian calendar, solar calendar, lunar calendar. This all is where the student can explore and then present it. Mathematics is a where he can explain the properties of triangles using the charts. Then social studies is present on the historical leaders and movements. Then comes your second one, flipped and self-directed learning, is where, as I said here, the flipping is where from classroom to home. So where you can give some videos, ask the student to explore it, digital content, and then ask them to discuss in the classroom. Or you can ask them to research anything, any information. Like for example, we have seen Angola what, where they can explore it and then they can get the details of it and discuss in the classroom. So this is where promote independent learning through videos, digital content, guided exploration, and self-paced learning before classroom interaction. Then comes your independent research task. This is also a part of flipped and self-directed learning, where you can give some research-oriented task like endangered species, found the endangered species, or it can be extinct species like dodo, dinosaur, etc. And then what are the conservation methods for this endangered or vulnerable species? Then mathematics explore the real-life applications of percentages. So in percentage, where do we use that? Okay, in our real life or world scenarios is what you can ask the students to explore it and discuss in the classroom. And social studies investigate. Here, major concern is like you might be saying that we don't have time. But 5-10 minutes for you when you are beginning the session, that is enough, so that every day students also will feel like something new, innovative strategies you are implementing. Then obviously over a period of time they also will be prepared. It's not like we prepare in the classroom and deliver the content. We need the teachers, students also to be prepared and then attend the classroom. So this is about. Coming to the next one is where peer tutoring and assessment. So where the students will be discussing together, they will be tutoring each other. Like for example, person 1 to person 2, he'll be explaining it. Maybe Arav is well versed with all the content, then he'll be explaining a person called Rohan that this is where. So by discussions and debates is where they are going to learn together. So this is where learning through peer interaction, teamwork, collaborative problem solving, peer teaching, and shared feedback experiences. Then comes with your think, pair, and share. Think is where the student is going to think individually. Pair is where he is pairing with a second person, and then they're sharing the ideas, and then sharing the discussions is in the classroom. They're going to discuss that. That is what think, pair, and share discussions, which you can give. Some of the examples are mentioned. Discuss why shadows change during the day. Why is it not lengthy or short all the time? Then compare different methods of solving subtraction problems, discuss the similarities and differences in festival celebrations, right? So this is one example that is given here from a math textbook. Then comes with your interdisciplinary approach, where we have connected here your art, your science subjects together. Okay, and how to design. This is a student model where this is similar to Persian houses that is being built. This is called ancient Persian natural cooling Bathgir and Kinat system, where the hot air will be circulated. Because if you the same model can be done with a cardboard, with just designing the similar way. Keep an incense in I mean to say an agarbatti at the bottom, and you can see how the hot air is circulating outside and how the cold air is moving downwards. So this flow, so cool air we cannot even see, but the hot air, how is it moving through that exhaust is what, this is the one. So you can see that moving ahead, right? These types of interdisciplinary approach models being created to enrich this motivation in the classrooms for the students. And then comes your real life application activities. In science, we have given one example: explore recycling and waste management practices. In maths, prepare the simple budgets and estimations. So here one example I want to give. I went to one of the school in Pune, where I have seen the students being engaged in some of the I mean to say staff duties. Like in billing section, there are students where it's a rotation, so that some of the students are given like to be a part of accounts. Some of the system are being a part of budgeting, like the complete school, what are the budgets being placed and how to handle them, and some have been dedicated for maybe these uniform sections, going to the vendors and then creating complete a budget and then coming back. So these are all the different strategies that they have implemented. So knowingly or unknowingly, the students are getting acquainted with all the skills. So you don't need to teach them. So the practically the skills have been learned by the students. So I encourage students, you the teachers, to implement such strategies in your school. It cannot be all the time. Maybe whenever they're getting and maybe just before the holidays, when they're not occupied with any of the exams, or on Saturdays even, maybe monthly 1 day is enough to just manage such things, is where I feel like we should give that opportunity to all the students. Then comes your the last one, emotional well-being oriented strategies, where here it's more of building empathy and communication and collaboration and decision making and resilient and positive behavior in the students. For this, we have given some examples for science, math, and social. And here one more is creative expression. So creative expression is endless. You can ask them to draw a diagram. It can be a landscape. It can be family pictures. It can be birds. It can be butterfly, rainbow, etc. So here the colors, the textures, these all matters. So that is where their creativity and visualization will be enhanced. And then comes your role play and drama activities. This is also a part of creative expression, where you can ask them to enact like like a king, or it can be a queen, or it can be Cleopatra, etc. So this is where the historical persons are also can be enacted. Then comes your creative drawing and design activities, and even story and comic creation. Okay. This is also which we have shown in one of the examples in the video. Right now, what are the outcomes which are developed through these strategies? I'm going to end in 2 more minutes. Please bear with me. So here are the outcomes that are developed through these strategies: communication, collaboration, confidence, self-motivation, creativity, innovation, critical thinking, problem solving, digital literacy, etc. So this we have been emphasizing all the 21st century skills in all of these slides. So these are, I can say, the outcomes which are developed through these strategies. Now coming to the pros and cons. So pros already we have seen in the prior slide and in all the slides. Coming to the cons is where the first and foremost, which most of the teachers would be saying, is not having enough time. Yes, do everyone agree with me? Yes. Yes, right. True, I do understand. For that, as I'm saying here, instead of starting it at every period or every session, do it at a chapter level. So in a chapter, you can spare one period for it. So that this such sort of this thing, or at the end of this thing, because role play, enacting, or doing one sort of peer engagement or peer collaboration, or doing a project, these all can happen only at the end. At the beginning, what can happen is something called a research analysis, or it can be we have done the brainstorming or visual storytelling. So something what they know about that is what can be done here, or flipped or self-directed learning. Right, or interdisciplinary learning. So just try to segregate what can be done at the beginning of the chapter, what can be done at the end of the chapter, so that every chapter spare one period for it. Right, because we know we'll be spending 2 hours for dictating the complete textbook exercises for the student. Instead of that, share that straight away on the screen, on your panel, interactive panel, and ask them to write it, or share that answers on the WhatsApp group. That is also one method. But here is where you need to spend the time, because students who are coming out of from your school, they should be like holistically 360 degrees holistic development is what we need. Not only about knowledge, it's not about only gaining knowledge. They should be smart enough in terms of all these skill sets, all these 21st century skills. So the students will not be an robotic or like I mean to say, but instead they'll be an holistic personalities. Okay, so these are the ones. And then any questions from anyone? So there are many strategies which I have omitted. I just only try to emphasize one or two for each one, so that most of these might be knowing, but you might not be knowing that this is falling under engagement, or this is falling under motivation, or this is falling under emotional well-being.